Welcome in, welcome in. It is I, Dr. Foregone Blitz, here for your lesson in speedrunning science. Today, we will be going over probably one of the most important aspects of speedrunning, which is, of course, speedruns and their implication on the lore of their video games. And in order to showcase this, I thought today we could go over one of the most important lore implications to come out of any speedrun, which is, of course, the Julius speedrun for Aria of Sorrow, and specifically why the speedrun proves that Julius is actually the strongest Belmont in the entirety of the Belmont clan. I'm working with the AV department to get our CRT monitor working here. Wait, do I have it on the wrong channel? Oh, of course, it's always channel 3, of course. Let me just, there it is. All right, we got it up and running now. So today, in order to showcase the lore implications of speedruns, I decided to ask my good friend, Mr. Tass, to show us the tool-assisted speedrun for Aria of Sorrow Julius mode, specifically the category of Defeat Chaos, and immediately already some wild stuff going on. One thing I want you to notice is pay close attention to how Julius decides to move around and listen carefully to what Julius is saying. If you listen closely, you will realize that there are lore implications to what's going on here. What I want you to do is I want you to look at this picture of Julius and ask yourself, what exactly is going on? Do you see it? Look very, very closely. Pay close attention to Julius here. Do you see it? Maybe I can make it a little bit clearer. That's right, Julius is actually Sans Undertale, and in today's video, I will be proving that. Turns out, psych, it was a game theory the whole time. It has nothing to do with the speedrunning lore. This is actually a game theory. MatPat's gone, so somebody's got to do it. And here's how I will prove that Julius is actually Sans Undertale. Right here, you will see that Julius, much like Sans Undertale, a multi-dimensional being, able to pass through into other dimensions. This action right here is called a high jump zip. What you'll notice here is that Julius is actually jumping into the wall. You can actually clip into the wall. You can see Julius's head is actually peeking into the wall by a few pixels here, getting to the top of the screen, then doing a turnaround uppercut, and then it ends up clipping you up into the ceiling. So what's happening here, we have Julius running into the castle. He does the trick to clip up into the wall, into the ceiling. As you can see here, based on the map of Aria of Sorrow, what's supposed to be above this room is the warp room, but the game sends you to an arbitrary place in memory based off of where the memory just so happens to be laid out for that specific area. The transition point between this spot and all the way over here are connected, and because of that, the task gets to take advantage of these arbitrary warp points to make huge warps around the castle, going straight to the first boss of the run, Creaking Skull, much quicker than normal, skipping like a handful of rooms and a lot of movement. Something else you'll notice right here is Julius is grabbing this orb after defeating the boss. Watch the slowdown here. It happens twice. This itself is also a glitch called the double orb glitch. The double orb glitch happens when you're able to have multiple hitboxes hitting the boss at the same time, essentially counting as 2 kills, so it spawns 2 orbs. These orbs are important because they increase Julius's stats every time you collect an orb. And we are seeing yet another massive warp, warping from this part of the castle right here all the way over here, which is pretty much the distance of the entirety of the castle. Julius may be powerful enough to break time and space to teleport around the castle, but he wants to grow even more powerful by absorbing more boss souls. And this Manticore boss is going to help him boost his strength tremendously. This boss has a hitbox on its tail and its body that are considered separate, so if you whipped the tail and the body at the same time, it would give you the double orb glitch. Here, however, we're using the same subweapon plus martial arts ability on the body and the tail this time, so guess how many orbs are spawned using this technique? 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's right, we have a quadruple orb on that one boss fight, increasing Julius's stats immensely. And with Manticore defeated and Julius powered up, there really isn't much stopping him from breaking the game further and zipping around the castle. We're seeing some more out-of-bounds zips get utilized here. Julius used his multiverse time travel powers into this part of the castle. Warp from here into the underground reservoir, which is yet again another warp that skips a ton of travel time. The reason we go to the underground reservoir is because it has yet another warp spot, this time taking us to the chaotic realm at the very end of the game. But funny enough, this part of the chaotic realm isn't used to go to the end of the game. It's actually used to activate yet another glitch, exiting out of the chaotic realm to enter the boss fight with Julius. Julius Belmont is so strong, and he's going back and forth between different universes and timelines, that the original Julius Belmont is trying to stop him from breaking the timeline even more, essentially going Super Belmont Saiyajin 4, Super God Super Saiyan, and it's still not enough. And Sans Belmont again is able to defeat Julius and do even more harm to the timeline. Now that the other Julius is defeated, our Julius has no problem continuing to break the universe wide open. Is it possible that he has transcended to godlike status? You might notice here, is Mr. Tass cheating? He's going inside of these enemies, but he's not taking any damage. Well, actually, Julius Belmont, by defeating himself in an alternate timeline, has transcended to become God. And the only way to stop him is for chaos itself to try and fix the timelines that have been destroyed so absurdly, but Julius's godlike powers will prevail in this situation. Julius has transcended to destroy chaos itself. This is a boss that Soma would normally fight in the base version of the game, and this boss fight is completely inaccessible to Julius by normal means. However, you kill Julius Belmont, you move into this area, and then once you enter this room, what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to be a cutscene where it takes control away from the player. You hop on here, you go up the elevator, the moon turns red, and then it warps you to the chaotic realm. If you interrupt this cutscene by immediately leaving the room before the cutscene's allowed to finish, you get put in this glitch state that has a few properties. The most important property is that it allows you to actually fight chaos. This is a flag trigger glitch. Cannot take damage. You're fully invincible during this state as well. The boss fight is really sick. When you're fully invincible, you can just wail on these guys all you want, which is crazy. So this boss fight is going to be just essentially trying to maximize the amount of damage you can do to chaos as quickly as possible. And after defeating chaos, you would think, okay, so the game is over, right? Well, not quite. The issue with being an interdimensional time-traveling being that is breaking causality and destroying chaos itself is that you actually end up in a void and there is nothing left. But Julius is yet even stronger than you would think. Okay, the end of causality, the end of time itself. How do you get back from this one? You simply clip into the boss rush universe, of course. You can do the same high jump clip in the dark to then clip into the boss rush map, which is a completely separate map in an alternate universe where all the bosses exist back to back to back to back. But in here, you'll notice that the bosses that Julius has already defeated are not here. So Manticore is in here, Creaking Skull is in here. Great Armor, even though it was defeated, is here for some reason. That's one that I don't quite understand. But yet again, a double orb glitch happens, growing even more powerful as he sucks the soul out of these bosses, very quickly double killing all of these bosses. I mean, just look at the damage he's doing now because of all of the boss souls he's absorbed. He's doing hundreds of damage per hit here. 378 damage per cross throw. And this is the boss with the most health in the game, destroyed in mere seconds. No boss is safe. Oh yeah, skipping the last phase of Balor is intentional. I forgot to mention that. That's a good point. I think it's because Balor is in the middle of an attack pattern when he actually dies. And then of course, we get to Graham, the intended final boss of the Julius mode playthrough. Speaking of skipping boss phases, Graham is also not immune because as you'll notice here, normally what's supposed to happen is Graham is supposed to warp into the middle of the room and then start throwing spinning fireballs in phase 2. But that phase is completely skipped by essentially doing the same double kill technology, the double orb glitch. Specifically, if you do enough damage where you're normally supposed to have Graham enter phase 2, it ends up doing enough damage to essentially double kill the boss, which skips phase 2. Julius, still fully invincible from destroying chaos. He is an unkillable god, an eldritch being who has ascended above chaos itself. And normally, if you recall from earlier when I showed off the boss rush universe that we've warped to, at the end of the boss rush, it's supposed to open this boss door, and then depending on how fast you finish, you get like a little reward, and it gets you into this room over here. But because we haven't killed Graham yet, and the game still considers us in like the normal-ish world, it's like in a weird glitch state where we're both in the boss rush universe, but we're also still connected to our original universe. Because the universes are crossed, killing Graham here in the boss rush causes a glitched version of the end credits here, and it's technically the end of the game. And that is how I proved with an unequivocal empirical evidence that Julius Belmont is actually Sans Undertale. They have the same laugh, they make the same noise, they're both interdimensional time-traveling demons that destroy chaos itself. They're both the most powerful beings in their respective universes. And I think I made a pretty damn good argument. If you want the full Castlevania main character power scaling video, subscribe and leave a comment asking for the power scaling video, and I will make it. I am deranged. I didn't get a PhD for no reason. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a lot of fun, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Have a good one. PhD's nuts. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, as it helps me out a lot. If you'd like to see me stream live, I'm live all the time over on twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. And of course, videos like this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for my Patreon supporters. And a special thanks to Microb, Atomic Dracula, Bonabista Gray, Brett Yingling, WJB, Grave Cactus, Henry Davis, Joachim Palm, Kenneth, Minus X, Nanoseed Production Company, Soma Jean, Suchioto, and TJ Foster.